Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. I'm your host Sultan Hali with another episode of Defense and Diplomacy. The quest for energy is forming the reason for various strifes in the world as well as in the region. Energy security is an extremely important topic which unfortunately has been ignored by subsequent leaderships in our country. But what is its essence? To discuss that, we have in our studio today two very eminent panelists, Major Raja Mujtaba, welcome sir.
Thank you.
And we have with us Barrister Aeman Maluka, who was called to the bar from the Lincoln's Inn and has double LML and also is a specialist on energy security. Welcome. Sir, the power potential of a nation cannot be exercised unless we pay full attention to all the aspects. Could you briefly for our audience tell us what is the power potential and also does energy security form a part of it?
Thank you very much. Today, if you see, the whole world is in turmoil because of the energy security, energy needs, and energy security has become the most security issue these days. To acquire energy from one source or the other, that is the whole thing going on. And developing countries like Pakistan, they have very specific needs and they have needs much greater than what they can produce themselves, you know. So their dependence on outside sources is very, very high. And although we are located within the oil hub, in the sense that all the oil exporters are around us, but still, unfortunately, we have not found that sort of a quantity of oil that could make us self-sufficient. Although it is said that we have sufficient quantity, but for one reason or the other, it has been kept and not being exploited to its true potential. And going through the potential of energy of Pakistan, Pakistan has just not one source. It has the coal, it has the oil, it has the gas, it has water, it has other some very strong...
And if we utilize wind and solar energy.
True. And that can really multiply our production, and we can not be only self-sufficient, but we could be exporters of energy. But for some reason or the other, this thing has not been thought out in the way it should have been thought out for Pakistan. It has always been thought out in a sense as if they are going to serve somebody else's interest. So as long as we do not keep our interest in focus, we can never meet our energy requirements.
In fact, we will come back to it once we solicit your opinion on how to address the issue. Barrister Aeman, could you, for the sake of our audience, very briefly touch upon what is energy security?
Energy security is probably one of the most misunderstood concepts, possibly in our region. Energy security is ensuring that your political ties, that your foreign policy, and most particularly your oil and gas policy actually match your energy needs. Now at this point we are standing at a juncture where we should be forming very amicable alliances with Iran, with China, and sadly, while our policies reflect all these ambitions, certain problems within our infrastructure are stopping us from adopting the same. Now I will bow to the observation of my dear friend Mr. Mujtaba here, and I agree to the extent that we have had very ambitious policies since the 1991, then there was the 2007 policy, 2009 policy. Currently we have another very ambitious document coming out with the name of the 2011 Pakistani Petroleum and Exploration Policy. But there is one example which I would like to adopt from my own recent article. It has come out like the legendary Frankenstein. It's made of the most beautiful and ambitious preambles. We want to have marine and coastal research. We want to have offshore mining and exploration. We want to have more royalty for our treasury. But all these things will take a long time to be carried out infrastructurally. Because our infrastructure, our bureaucracy, despite the fact it's a very hard-working bureaucracy, we've got a very good current government which is actually making efforts better than our previous governments to bring about a stance where we can rival the geopolitical realities which are
in the same
in the area.
article you just mentioned, you have given a hint that energy security should be the focal target of our foreign investment. How do you explain this?
Absolutely, yes. There are two things to look at here. One is the Iran pipeline that is coming in now. Sadly, we haven't done enough. We've done much there, but not enough. We've got the third-party draft rules coming out for sharing of that pipeline, because a pipeline infrastructure needs to have amicable profits, rights of movement. There's so many legal and financial issues coming out of it, basically, which we haven't exactly paid attention to. Not because we're not capable of doing it, but we, as a nation, we tend to overlook things which will actually benefit us in the long run. At this point, we should be creating ties with friendly nations. We've got the West on our side. They have indeed, we have a very good report going on there, but we should also focus on the geopolitical realities. Who are our neighbors? It's China, it's Iran, maybe even Russia at some point. Why not? The world is looking towards Russia. If you remember the recent withdrawal of Russia from the Energy Charter Treaty, you will realize that even the EU is perturbed there. They want to develop proper energy security ties there, because who is going to be the next producer of gas? Who is going to be the next producer of oil?
Right. If you permit, let me solicit the opinion of Major Mujtaba. Sir, you are a specialist and you have your finger on the pulse of the Central Asian states. How do you look at the Iran-Pakistan gas line, and what is its potential if China joins in?
I would say that from IPI, it should be renamed as IPC. Because India is a drag and India will not accept it for their own reasons. And if we convert this from IPI to IPC and we go out open-heartedly and embrace Iranians, and they are sure going to support us. The other day I had a meeting with the Iranian ambassador and he says that we want to support Pakistan, but we do not want to make Pakistan dependent on us for financial aids. We want that Pakistan should stand on their own feet, you know. And for that, we are prepared to give them any assistance in the shape of oil and gas. They said we are offering gas and we are offering them at very, very competitive prices. So,
but sir, I would like to draw your attention towards the adversity of the West, who are trying to discourage us from this particular arrangement, and they would rather have us have the TAPI. Could you shed some light on that?
You see, I will not mind even if the gas comes from on the TAPI line, you know, but the thing is that we have to work out economics. The Iranian is just next door to us, and then there is no security issue also, because TAPI is going to come through Afghanistan, and Afghanistan at this point of time is very, very disturbed. Unless Afghanistan comes to some peaceful settlement, TAPI may not be that favorable to us. But why should we ignore?
But there's an alternate route being considered from through China.
Yeah, but even the alternatives are going to further extend the distance, you know. Now, if you increase the distance, you increase the cost, you increase the transportation cost, you increase the construction cost. So the cost will go up. The shortest cost, the least cost that you can get is from Iran. And we should, and West have their own interest, but we should carry our interest first and foremost.
Right. So, Barrister Aeman, in the same article which you just mentioned, the Frankenstein thing, you have highlighted a new theory by Andrew Belly, the new political economy of energy. Now this strikes to me as touching on or treading on waters which have not been tapped before. Could you share with us what exactly does Andrew Belly mean by this?
Precisely, yes, because Andrew Belly is also a very eminent Russian commentator. He was commenting in that context upon the EU-Russian arrangement. But coming back to our region precisely, South Asia has perhaps been only one of the countries in the South Asian region which has been ignorant of the fact that now we are following what Daniel Yergin called the price. Daniel Yergin, he is a very prominent writer on energy security in the US. And he was warning the US in the late 90s and early 2000s, he was already developing a thesis that the next quest and the next quest for energy security will be based on wars, and it will be based on political diplomacy and creating all these international relations. Because we are looking for the prize, we are looking for energy security. Without oil and gas, developing nations are nothing, that's one thing, but developed nations, they'll go bankrupt in that case. So once again, I'll agree with Mr. Mujtaba's assertion. China is trying to sell us electricity. Iran is being very cooperative with us. If we do recall, China actually went into the Turkol area and did a lot of research for us Chinese companies that wanted to invest there. I'm still wondering what is tying us up? What is it that is stopping us from going ahead? Because once we have these friendly allies here who have lesser political motives and they're much more interested within our economy, with investment and everything, these are our potential foreign investors. This will make our current investors, our so-called investors, the US and the Westerns, rethink their current policy towards us. We have to put them in a position where we let them know that yes, we have able